Welcome back to TribPreps. I'm Eric Lee alongside Todd Sommerfeldt here to recap round two of playoff action here in Wisconsin. Run through the scores, get into our games. Cashton, big winner tonight over Bangor, 34-14. Aquinas in Division 5 over Stanley Boyd, 47-8. Onalaska falling to Rice Lake in Division 2, 42-7. And West Salem in Division 4 falling to top-seeded Maple Northwestern, 42-20. Those are all the only four games we had this week. I mean, we talked about it at the end of last week, just kind of how many teams just got bounced last week, partially because of tough draws and whatnot. But
yeah, and two moving forward to the quarterfinals, but two teams that we knew were good. You never know what's going to happen when you have a Bangor Cashton game. I really thought Cashton would beat Bangor during the regular season, and Bangor won. So, good on Cashton for getting the return and getting the revenge there and winning that game, because they've been playing for that game for a long time. So yeah. I'm sure they're thrilled in Cashton tonight.
Yeah, they absolutely were. Kids throwing helmets. Well, at least one kid throwing a helmet. Got the good old water cooler bath afterward with Zach Milsna then, who was one of the guys who bestowed the water onto Jared Hemmersbach. Just one-handed chucking the cooler into the air afterward. So yes, they were very excited. Yes. They wanted it very badly, and
it's been a long time since Cashton has been this far in the playoffs. 1999 is the last time they won 2 playoff games. So tread new ground there for the Eagles, at least with this generation.
Yeah, well, I mean, even 3 years ago, right? They were 0-9, and now they're 9-2. They beat Bangor for the first time since 2013.
Yep. And now play Potosi Cassville,
5th seed,
and host Potosi Cassville. They get another home game in the playoffs. It appeared they'd be headed to Highland, which is a team that's been just destroying everybody this year. So that would have been kind of a concern. But now Potosi Cassville is still going to be a good team. Potosi's traditionally had very good football. So don't put too much into that 5 seed.
Yeah,
it's going to be a tough game for Cashton to go ahead and win, but coming off of this and the confidence that's been built and the talent that we know that's there, and being on the home field, it's certainly a possibility for Cashton to be able to go out there and win another one.
Yeah. Do we just want to start with that then?
Yeah, because you were there. I mean, I didn't think that would be a 20-point game, whichever way it went.
No, me neither.
I thought, if Bangor won the first one, Cashton had a pretty good chance to win this one. But I didn't think there was 20 points of separation there between those teams.
No, me neither. And it really came down to Cashton's offensive and defensive line.
That's what you said. The line really.
Especially, I was particularly impressed with the defensive line. Zach Milsna, I mean, the dude's 6'6", 285. So
and all of that.
It definitely all of that. He was all over the place. Riley Verkin, another solid defensive lineman. He's 6'5", 200. They just essentially couldn't be moved. And frequently in the backfield, just kind of mucking things up. And the Bangor's going to run the ball. And they're going to give the ball plenty of times to Matthew Osterly. And tonight, Tanner Jones back from an MCL injury. So where they want to go with the ball. It's just a matter of, can you get some sort of penetration? Can you meet them at the line of scrimmage at the very least? Can you just kind of slow their momentum? Cash did a good job in the second half of controlling time of possession. Again, partially because of the offensive line. And Colin O'Neill was fantastic tonight.
What did O'Neill end up with?
He ended up
just curious.
28 carries for 157 and 3 touchdowns.
Good player.
Yeah, he's pretty fast. He's clearly not afraid of contact. I don't necessarily know if he's like an overpowering back, but he's not. He can run between the tackles just fine too. He's not a power only back. Right, that's not his bread and butter. He likes to get in the open field. And did so a number of times tonight. Good at breaking tackles, did so very well in the touchdown that sealed the game in the fourth quarter. But so Cashton was able to control the ball, in the second half. Bangor only had 2 possessions in the second half.
Okay.
I think they had 80 some yards in the second
I
half.
said 87 or something.
87.
Yeah.
So they were able to really kind of keep them in check, and I mean, the game started about as poorly as it could have for Bangor too. And they're on their first possession, their first down and their third down snaps like ended up on the ground, and Michigan just had to fall on them essentially. And then their snap on their punt gets bobbled, and who is it? It's Sam Crenshaw. I wanted to make sure I had the right Crenshaw because you know, Sam Crenshaw bobbles it and just barely gets it off. And honestly, for the amount of time and like the space that he had, it was a pretty good punt for being able to get rid of it. But they had another issue on a snap on a punt on their. It wasn't their next possession. I think it was 2 or 3 possessions after that where he couldn't get it off that time.
Okay.
So Cashin takes over.
Bangor not helping itself.
Yeah. Takes over on its own, or takes over on Bangor's 37, and the next play is O'Neal finds a crease on the right side, down the right sideline, and he's gone. Touchdown. So then it's 7-0 Cashin. And Bangor's able to actually take a 14-13 lead in the second quarter, but Cashin, as a scoring drive of their own, drive kept alive by a very nice throw from Jay Hudsinger to Connor Bootsler. It's like 30 some yards on a 3rd and 6, 3rd and 9. It was a 3rd and long, and Todd Grant said after the game that they had them in positions where like they liked their chances, like they got them where they wanted to get them, and Cashin just made plays. So that kept that drive alive, and O'Neal punches in his second touchdown. Cashin goes up at the half, and then they start the second half. Yeah, they controlled the second half, and they started the second half really, really nicely with a really lengthy drive. They ate up over 6 minutes of the clock, and Bangor could have got off the field. Cashin had 4th and goal, and Bangor had stopped the second and third down plays for 0 and negative yards. So it looked like they were ready to kind of make a stand here. And if they could have swung the tide of the game. But Cashin ran this kind of a run pass option play, but not in the sense that we're like somebody was like making a read on like somebody and then pulling it and then throwing it. But Brady Hammersbach was under center actually for this, and they ran the same exact play for the 2-point conversion, a 2-point conversion in the first half, where he takes the snap, puts the ball in his arm, and he's running to the right. But there's a pass option off of this, and on the 2-point conversion, he like briefly like brought up the pass and then like pulled it back under and just dove in and took the 2 points. But this one, he's rolling out, he's a little bit more patient, and then pulls it back and finds Brett Hammersbach for a touchdown on 4th and goal. So it was just the big plays that really kind of killed Bangor. I mean, Brady Hammersbach also had a 72-yard touchdown run in the first half, and that was like the first play of that drive too. So it was just Bangor just never had the momentum, and Jared Hammersbach said after the game that they felt pretty comfortable that I'm confident that if they could get a lead and kind of force Bangor to play at a deficit, that they liked their chances, especially with the way the line was playing. And you know, Bangor's not built to overcome large deficits quickly. Like they would need time to overcome it. So when they went up 2 possessions at the start of the third quarter, they were just kind of able to milk it away. Cashin finished with 300 rushing yards, so they were just able to get that on the ground, and it was a big win. It was a really big win.
Yeah, it is.
For Cashin. I mean, it's their second win over Bangor in the last 22 times these teams have played. So
again, a game they really wanted.
Yeah, I mean, they even obviously, like we said, I mean, they got a shot to take it another step. But this is what Jared Hammersbach said after the game. I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to worry about Potosi Cassville until Monday. Right now, we're going to have fun this weekend. So yeah, so that's where they're at.
Okay.
But yeah, let's hear about the Blue Goals. It sounds like kind of a carryover of the second half from last week.
Yes, I'm gonna say you started my theme with Colin O'Neill, which will move on to Calvin Hargrove and Joe Penke, all wrestlers. You talked about O'Neill not afraid of contact, running through contact.
Yep.
Hargrove and Penke did the same thing tonight in getting Aquinas going on the ground, of all things. We know they've had this kind of three-headed running back. In fact, there were the two of them and David Moline, another wrestler, who've all been very effective back there, but have shared the load.
Yep.
So nobody's got any standout numbers or anything. Well, there were standout numbers tonight because Aquinas rushed for 378 yards.
Crazy.
This is a team that typically passes for about 220, or I think that's about where Flatmeyer's at, about 220 a game. It's more, and if you watch it, they're not necessarily. It's not like it's I think I used the words flash and finesse in my story, but the passing game that they use is kind of like that. Today, that was out the window, and they were going to run it down Stanley Boyd's throat. And that's exactly what they did. A lot of it was Hargrove. Moline got hurt after his second carry, hurt his ankle, didn't play anymore. Seemed to be okay. He was getting around. I would guess, just from seeing that, he'll be fine for next week. But they didn't put him back in. They didn't need him. As soon as he gets hurt, Hargrove goes in and just takes over the load. Hargrove ended up with 134 yards and 3 touchdowns on 18 carries.
Casual.
Even more casual, Penke, 166 yards and 2 touchdowns on 8 carries.
It's disgusting.
Including an 80-yarder where he ran through contact, he broke a couple of tackles, got to the sideline and used his speed and just ran away from the defense.
That's so disgusting.
Yeah, and Hargrove was running through contact too on a lot of his carries. One, he got grabbed and completely spun around and stayed on his path and kept going and ended up getting a touchdown out of it. I forgot how far that one was, about 20 yards or so, maybe a little less. But like I said, defender completely spun him around and he kept going. The first 3 touchdowns Aquinas had, all 3 they had in the first half, came on 4th down plays. So they had a 24-0 lead at the half. One of those was a Flatmeyer pass to Quinn Miskowski on 4th down. That was a nice throw. Aquinas didn't throw it nearly as much as it does. I mean, it's 10 for 13, so they did throw 13 passes, all in the first half. But those completions were only 85 yards, so not much downfield. Longest pass he had was like he scrambled off to his left and just kind of pitched it to Miskowski, and he caught it and had a big gain off of that. But, so nothing that was just designed as a drop back in the pocket, go down the field, hit it, other than that touchdown, which I think was 14 yards on that one. But this was about the run. This was about the guys up front, and they did a fantastic job. I talked to the Stanley Boyd coach afterward, and he said they weren't that surprised because Aquinas was able to run it effectively against Spooner. And they've run it effectively this year, they just haven't had to run it for big numbers. Right. And I think you said they had 170
last week
against Spooner. So add 200 to that. I mean, they were over that. They had about 200 at the half in this one, and just kept going. Didn't throw a pass in the second half.
Jeez.
Got a late interception to end a Stanley Boyd possession. Stopped Stanley Boyd. It was 2 or 3 times on 4th down, I think. So turned him over on downs a few times. Didn't really let him get in any kind of flow. I think Stanley Boyd had about 150 total yards in the game. So the defense played well. Offense again was fantastic, just in a different way. And I look forward to seeing what Aquinas can do next week against St. Croix Falls, which is a 6th seed. Not the anticipated opponent, but has a good running back and a fast running back. So we'll see how Aquinas can work to defend that. And Tom Lee told me the same thing too. As we were leaving, I said, better start looking up St. Croix Falls, and he said, nope, we're gonna enjoy this one tonight. He said, I'll deal with that later.
Yeah.
My guess is he'll deal with it tomorrow. Or Saturday, which is this morning. But anyways, a very impressive win for Aquinas against, and even Tom Lee, I think, was legitimately surprised at the final score of this one. I don't think they thought they'd go out and do this. Another big factor in this, Brady Potasek for Stanley Boyd came into this game 50 catches, 933 yards, 12 touchdowns.
Yeah,
no catches tonight. Chris Wilson on him. I don't know if they didn't look for him or if they were frustrated early that they couldn't find him and then went away from it or not. But Tom Lee said that Chris Wilson was still very vocal with the sideline about Stanley Boyd setting up a pass to him. It just never came. So I don't know if that's just because Wilson had him blanketed. There certainly were never any open receivers running downfield. Yeah. And Aquinas had enough pressure into the backfield and everything. But a good all-around game for them. Flotmeyer, even with the kickoffs, those weird left-footed kickoffs that he has, that he's putting in the end zone. Right-handed passer, left-footed kicker.
So bizarre.
But yeah, he put some more in the end zone tonight. For Aquinas, exactly what you wanted to see going into this game. So now we see what happens in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Anna, I thought that game would be a little closer.
I did too. They were with them in the first quarter.
It had 300 yards. It sounds like we had Brandon Berg from Chippewa Herald there covering the game for us tonight. So we had that on our website too, lacrossetribune.com. He said it was just kind of a matter of Onalaska not being able to finish drives. They would put something together, string together some first downs, and then turn it over or get stopped and have to punt. So just weren't able to finish drives from the sound of it. They were right there early. They got an early touchdown. They were within 8-7.
Yeah.
And then there was a kind of a gradual pull away for Rice Lake.
Yeah, the number that sticks out to me is this one right here that says Rice Lake average yards per play 9.1. That's about all you need to say. And Yash, I talked to him earlier this week and said that they needed to stop Alex Belangia, and he had 5 catches for 92 yards and 2 touchdowns and returned a kickoff for a touchdown. So
and that kickoff
that was to start the game.
Yeah, so that puts you behind the 8 ball right away.
Yeah, they were able to respond though, like you said, within 8-7, but
and then safety. So I'm not sure what happened there. Yeah, that's not anything you want to give up.
No, and couldn't do much from there. So it was a tough way. I read through Brandon's story though, and Yash was very complimentary of the senior class. I mean, considering the COVID year and just even the talent that they graduated right from 2 years ago. To what they've been able to accomplish these last few years. So
they've had a nice little run here. And the thing, other than this, if you look at last year and look at this year, any game they lost, they were right there. Yeah. This is the only time they really got blown out in a game. And this is Rice Lake. This is Big Rivers Conference. Lacrosse, Logan, and Central used to be in the Big Rivers, so they're familiar with these teams. You take out the Eau Claires out of that, and the rest of the teams, which Eau Claires have struggled in recent years, but the Big Rivers is a good football conference. Yeah. And anytime you got to match up with them, whether it's regular season or playoffs, and especially playoffs, it's not going to be an easy game. And every time you play one of those teams, they may not be undefeated or a one-loss team or whatever. It's going to be tough, especially if you have to go there. Yeah. So whenever you draw those Big Rivers teams, these MVC teams around here, you got your work cut out, no matter what kind of season they've had and what kind of season you've had down here in the MVC. Yeah, for sure. I think that about wraps it up. Yes. For us tonight. 2 games next week.
2 games next week.
We got some volleyball.
Yep.
Saturday night.
Yep.
We got a soccer game on Saturday with Arcadia.
Yep.
We got state cross country. So we got lots of stuff going up on lacrossetribune.com throughout the course of Saturday. And then hopefully beyond with some volleyball, and obviously we have some more football next week. So
yeah, but that'll do it for us tonight, and we hope to see you back here again next week. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.